This conference will now be recorded.
Oh boy.
There you go. And I'll turn it over to you moderators and let you get started with your group.
All right.
Okay. Well, then I guess thank you to everybody joining us tonight. And I know that Carly is not feeling the greatest. So I think that that would be a great way to kind of start tonight, because it sounds like a lot of us know each other. Frank and Lisa, and Cathy, do you want to chime in a little bit about yourselves?
Sure, I'll dive right into that. My name's Frank Austin. I was diagnosed with MS in 1998. I've been involved in MS Society activities in the MS community ever since. I was on the Government Relations Committee in Southern California. I moved to Pennsylvania after my wife and I retired, and I was on the Government Relations Committee there. And then after we got a divorce, I moved back out here to Kansas, where I grew up. And guess what? I'm on the Government Relations Committee in Kansas. So no matter what I do, I run into people that have MS, and I run into people in the government, and I just can't keep my mouth shut. So here I am, and I'm an open book. I'll tell anybody anything they need to hear.
Perfect.
Very nice.
Frank.
Okay.
So
All right.
On to Lisa and Cathy. Yeah.
Okay. So, wow, that's so nice, Frank. It's really nice to get a
Thank
chance
you.
to meet you. So I was diagnosed in 2010, September 2010. And let's see, I was living in the Bay Area, California, and had to eventually, after really trying to continue to work and keep my insurance and all of that, and also keep my life out there in the Bay Area. My wonderful neurologist, my Berkeley, California neurologist, told me, look, she's from Brooklyn, and she's like, look, you're either moving back to Michigan or you're moving to New Jersey, where my sister lived. And so I moved back to Michigan to have the familial support. And I moved back about 5 years ago. And once I came to Michigan, I participated in an MS walk, National MS Society walk. And then I wanted to get more involved, and I participated in joined a committee for the planning of the conference for African American and Black families affected by MS. And in March 2020, it'll be our 5th. And then from there, I got involved with advocacy and went to State Action Day, and eventually got involved with the Government Relations Advisory Committee. And it's been a wonderful experience. And I really like, it was hard to try to find out something you can do differently than what you worked for 15 years or so, or however many years. But I always say the MS Society really gave me another chance to still be involved and make a difference. So I really appreciate it.
Nice. And how about you, Cathy?
Okay, so I apologize for no picture today. Like Carly, I guess, I am also not feeling great. This flu, as you can imagine, I've been in for like a week and a half. But anyway, so I was diagnosed in 1986. There were no medications then, no internet. You can imagine what it was like finding out you have a disease that you don't know anything about. So that's when I just decided that I was going to just do everything that I could, just like Frank said, wherever, whenever. I'm an open book. And I think, it's been such a long road that I've worked with every organization I can think of. I never know how to quite introduce myself because it covers a lot of territory on all these years. And so I've done the walk, and I've actually did the bike when I was younger. Now I turned 60 this year, so not exactly in the same shape I was. And now I am a certified health advocate and a freelance writer, and I'm doing speaking and I'm doing consulting, and I'm trying to break out a little to be able to work and speak to audiences that are outside of the community, because I'd like to educate people who are able-bodied and create some awareness about our disease. And that's kind of a goal between that and writing a book. But I love our community, and I think that anything that we can do to create things together and to lean on each other is just powerful collective source of inspiration and empowerment. So I love that you're starting this support group tonight, and I already love Dan and Jen, so here I'm loving them even more tonight. So thank you.
And the love goes right back to you, Cathy, and I'm sorry that you're not feeling well, but in the future, if you have the opportunity to see Cathy, she's beautiful. So I understand you're not feeling well. So do you think, I mean, Frank, Carly, Lisa, when we're sick, do you think when we're sick that it's worse because of the MS?
Well, for me, it definitely is. It lingers and it takes its toll. Sorry, I think I just cut Carly off. She looked like she was about to talk.
No,
But for me, it is.
That's okay.
It's lingering, and now my legs are getting more numb, and the fatigue has stepped up a lot. So for me, anyway, I definitely say yes.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it. I think the key is, I don't think you get any sicker, but I think the road back is a lot tougher road. It's harder to recover from anything.
I can see that.
With Frank.
I have, like, when the symptoms come on, I feel like, I always can tell when I'm going to run a fever or something, because my hands get a little more numb and my chest gets numb. And I mean, it's scary stuff but yeah, once it hits, then I'm like wiped out, and, poor Jennifer, I can't help her. And so there's been, a time or two where we've had to have her family come up and help with it. But you're right, Frank, then it is once you're quote unquote better, it's just that recovery time just to get back to where you need to be.
Yeah, Cathy,
I'm sharing too.
I'm sorry. I just want to, Cathy, where's Cathy located? Where?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to say that. I'm in New Jersey. I heard you say New Jersey, and I said, wow.
Yeah, you're in New Jersey. Whereabouts? Yeah. Whereabouts?
I'm in Somerset County. It's,
okay.
Yeah, it's near Morristown.
Oh, very good. Okay. Yeah, my sister lived in Montclair, but now
I grew up near there. Yeah.
Okay. But now she and her husband are in Newark. So yeah, very nice. Okay.
That's fine too.
Yes, indeed. I'm sorry, Carly. I know you're going to talk about.
Oh, no, thank you. No, I was shared with Frank earlier before everybody else hopped on, but I'm still in the clinical trial for Ocrevus, and I had it 2 weeks ago, and so I knew I was kind of like the perfect storm of things. So I work in a senior center, and often they come sick like children. So whatever colds they had, it's been about 2 weeks now. It was like that. I started a new job on Monday too, so a few stressors.
Are you fearful at all of getting sick because of the setting where you work, Carly?
Not usually. It's the first week or two after I get my infusion that I think I'm more susceptible, but generally, like, I don't get normal sick, just, chronically ill.
Carly, did you say you're in a clinical trial for Ocrevus? Carly?
I am, yes.
Oh, I didn't know there was a clinical trial for Ocrevus.
Well, I've been in it for 7 years now. So before it was FDA approved, I came in the study when it was phase 3.
I see. I started a year ago, so I was just curious about that.
Yeah. How are you feeling with it?
I haven't noticed any changes, and whenever I get it for about a week, I feel like I'm having the flu. But I can't complain. So from having no drugs to this is great.
Well, I would hope that you like it was probably a year and a half until I really like started feeling big changes. But when I was diagnosed actually in I think 2011, and and I went into the hospital. I was using a walker, and I'm back to running.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It's been, yeah, it's a huge change for me.
Good for you. That's wonderful.
And you're saying you think the Ocrevus has really had an impact. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, so in order to get into the trial that I am still in, I was first on Avonex and then Copaxone. So you had to have relapses with 2 other medications and more lesions or whatever before they would even accept you into the trial. And I think with Avonex, I had like in 1 year 5 rounds of steroids with a relapse. So yeah, night and day for me.
Interesting.
So what, I guess then.
Yeah, because I'm considering Ocrevus as well. That's why we're looking into making that transition. So I was curious about that.
Well, and actually at the DMC, when I went in, they were getting really excited because they're looking at doing another clinical trial with Ocrevus, but as a sub-Q every 6 months, not like not like a daily or like a Copaxone type, but actually doing that. And I think I gotta wait till I hear back from them, but I think in January they're gonna start looking for people to get into the clinical trial, at least at DMC. So
so how often do you take? How often is an infusion? Yes.
The infusion is every 6 months, and the sub-Q shot that they're looking, it will be every 6 months also. But this one will be a phase 1. But they're taking folks that have already not had success on other medications and taking, I don't know, like they've never been on any medication.
Okay.
So they're doing it too, but it depends. If you've never taken any medication and you're just coming into the study, it'll be like you have to stay in the hospital for 4 days because it's a phase 1. So, but if you have already tried other medications, it'll be an overnight stay in the hospital, and then you can be released.
Okay, thank you.
Frank, can I ask what are you taking any like DMT?
No, I'm secondary progressive, and I've stopped all the DMTs. And,
really?
Just doing the symptom management.
Yep.
And I'm stable. And I've been stable for 10 years.
Wow.
Very good.
A little bit of slippage downhill, but I can't complain.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because I just hear everybody with the heavy hitter that is Ocrevus, and I'm like so old school that I'm still taking the beta seron. So you're just like,
if it ain't broke, you know.
Well, exactly. Yeah, my neurologist, when like a new neurologist, and we had that conversation, I'm like, I don't want to try anything else. I mean, just because I'm doing it, and you hear horror stories, just of like, sometimes it's like almost like people aren't dealing so much with the MS, they're dealing more with the side effects of the drugs they're taking for the MS. And like, I don't, I can take ibuprofen a half hour before I take my shot, go to bed, and I sleep it off, so I just, because Jennifer's on the Rituxan. Yeah, just I mean, so okay, I guess that's interesting with the injections or what they're talking with the Ocrevus, because sometimes it's like we wanted to get away from the injections and stuff. I suppose taking a shot once every 6 months is better than every day or every other day or once a week. So
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, I went from nothing to 7 days a week. Beta serum was the first one out. And then Avonex, I tried that. And then I went to Copaxone because the first two didn't work. And it was still every day, and you had to reconstitute it yourself. It didn't come ready-made. And then it went to 3 days a week, and now it's twice a year. So we're going in the right direction here. And if beta seron's working for you, then that's great, and that's what you should stick with.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard. Just I think what Cathy, Catherine, Cathy,
Yeah.
Cathy. I'm sorry. Just essentially, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I've always heard that. I do want to go back to the idea about the illness piece or getting a cold, and I'm so fearful of that because I think maybe the second winter I returned, and it was the I think it was the second or the snowiest winter in the history of Michigan. I think it was the first winter. The first two back to back were the snowiest and the coldest. And then I had my little nephew. He was like brand new, little nephew, and just running. He's from Texas, and he came over, and I was hugging on him, and he was say, "I'll see that on the iPad," and he would touch and then touch my iPad and touch, and hug me. And I swear, within his visit, I ended up in the hospital with like double lung pneumonia, and it was pretty serious. I mean, my dad doesn't play so he's always talks about me needing to get the flu shot, and then we're trying to fight to get pneumonia vaccinations, and now they're very strict with that unless you're 65 years or older, and it's been really a concern. So but my dad was like, I said, was it bad? Yeah, Lisa, it was bad. It was both lungs. Yeah, he's an MD and he doesn't really play. He doesn't. So that was a big deal. And my dad says it like that. Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was both lungs. Yeah, Lisa. And I was like, whoa, boy. And so I'm frightened, to be honest. And I think that experience, and I was in the hospital. I was hospitalized for 5 days, and they wanted to keep me longer, but I was like, I got to get out of here because there was only one more day to be with my nephew. And I'll never forget, as soon as I came home, and he hugged me and everything, and he was like, yeah. And then we all looked at each other. And we're like, and then he touched my. Then he was like,
I wonder, does everybody seem like you get upper respiratory stuff? Because that seems to be.
I don't know.
Do you guys seem to get upper respiratory?
I mean, that was just new for me, and I don't know, but I do get cold. I do catch colds pretty, annually, and I'm always concerned about that. But anyway, yeah. So.
Well,
pneumonia's serious, right?
Yeah.
Pneumonia's serious for us, right?
Yeah, and feeling off that, I wonder, do people get flu shots, or conversely, Lisa, I had a pneumonia shot and I haven't had one in a few years.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering, do you get the flu shot or do you get those vaccines? I mean, how do you prepare? Because we all live in places where you have to deal with winter, which I hate to be the bearer of bad news, is around the corner. I mean, I don't know about getting sick. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, my dad is like, I can't believe it. You haven't gotten your flu shot yet. I don't even want to talk to you. So that's pretty bad.
So let me say this. So this is Cathy. So I was at a meeting a week and a half ago where I was presenting something about MS, and the next 2 mornings after that is when I started getting this flu that I have now. 2 other girls got sick the same time. So somebody must have been in that audience that was sick because there was some kind of germs going around. So the other 2 women who got sick at the same time were up and around 2 to 3 days later, and I'm still at home battling this. So I think that is a great little example of our faulty immune system, and maybe even the Ocrevus suppressing some of it as well. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's actually in my contract too. 6 weeks before and 6 weeks after my infusion, I cannot get a flu shot.
Right, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So, and same with my husband. He and I both got sick about the same time, and he's fine. And he's like, "Why are you still sick?" And I'm like, "I'm chronically ill."
Yeah.
It's just not what it is.
I love when they ask that.
Yeah. Why are you so sick?
Yeah.
Have you had a flu shot, Frank or Cathy?
Of course.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I
I always get my flu shot. I'm up to date on my pneumonia vaccinations. I'm doing everything I can. That's routine.
I guess I better step it up because I didn't get my flu shot yet. So
Yeah, me neither. That's helpful. Okay.
well, and in the past when I used to work at the university here, I mean, the health services would come to our office and give us our flu shots and stuff. And now that I work from home, and I don't know if that's problematic for me. I mean, just because I don't get out of my house, we go to church on Sunday and but at night, if we go out to eat dinner, but it's just like, when you're actually out in the elements and you're seeing people, I mean, then your immune system's a little better at defending it. But it's just like, if I go out in public now, because I'm in my little contained environment here, does that make me more at risk to get cold or to catch things?
I think it's a protection. I think the fact that you're in a controlled environment most of the time, you're safe most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're not exposed to that much bad stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, why'd you have to say, we're just opening day of the World Series is tonight, and Jennifer's talking about winter coming, so that's.
I have a caregiver who said that the weather report in Michigan is not good for
No. Yeah.
He could be wrong.
I dread winter.
Yes. Have you had a flu shot, Cathy?
It's funny because the day before I got sick, I went to our local pharmacy to get my flu shot, and there were 10 people in line, and I walked out thinking, oh, I'll go the next day, and boom. So now I have to wait until this all clears out,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there one season of the year that's worse for everybody? We always talk about MS with the heat, and so summer's bad, but I mean, I actually feel like I do worse in the winter when it gets colder.
I do too. I do too. Yep.
I don't seem to have the energy in the winter that I have in the summer.
Yeah.
Do you
No,
think
they're pretty, both of those are, the extremes are problematic for me. Winter and summer. So it's, I have a really short time period to be able to get out there and enjoy, yay! And then it's AC, or,
we all have to move to San Diego.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's flawless weather. Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe we can have it mandated? The government can just like an MS state, and we can take over California. So we need the weather.
I have faith in you. I have faith in you, Jen. You can take care of that.
Well, thank you.
You have my vote.
I think that that's one of those things with the weather, and just that days. I think that stress to use the MS word, exacerbates, you're cold, or, you have so much to do. Like, I'm just like kind of dreading that season of, I mean, I know it's good, but I don't look forward to the stress. Maybe they can move Christmas or move the holidays to warmer weather.
I was going to say Christmas only in California.
Yeah. I don't know.
How about moving to Australia, Jen?
Oh, I like that, Rick. That's very nice.
Yeah, I like that too. And in the next election, it might really happen, but that's another story.
I always think about how they celebrate Australia in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, not that.
I think Carly and I have to mute our microphones here with all this coughing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, too.
I feel sorry. I feel so badly for you both. Oh, gosh.
So if I get sick tomorrow,
Also in the winter, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just being a smart ass. Really, I said if I get sick tomorrow, I can blame the both of you. So. So you were asking what, Kathy?
I'm sorry. I
was just gonna say.
Jokes. I love corny jokes. That's the best. So, I mean, I love great jokes, beautiful jokes, not corny.
Call it what you will.
Okay, that was good.
I was just gonna say that aside from the illness in the winter, I also dread walking outside because I'm so careful of every single step. I'm so afraid of black ice, and I always think my in-laws there's some in Florida and some in Scottsdale, and what the heck are we doing in New Jersey? And I think it's for all of us, the fear of falling is real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Speaking of that too, because Kathy, that's like one of my top things that I walk so carefully, because most winters I've taken a fall and like really banged up my knee. And have you seen those like claw things that you can like get on the bottom of your tennis shoes or something? Like, I'm actually considering getting those this year.
Like chains that you attach to it?
They're
like
almost
chains, or I don't know what they are exactly. They're like metal, I think.
they're almost like cleats, kind of.
Yeah, cleats. That's a better word. Yeah. Did you get that, Carly?
Yeah.
I'm not hearing all the words you're saying.
Me neither.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think my internet is not doing great because I'm not hearing everything you guys are saying either. But
okay.
I'm going to try and get some for this winter, I think, because I've got a little bit further to go for work. So you just have to bite the bullet on it and get it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Where do you purchase? These items. Is it just going to a regular shoe store or a particular brand?
I go to the Amazon.
Oh, sure.
I go to the Amazon.
Okay, that's a great store.
Yeah.
But quite often, yes, indeed. Okay. What do you look for? What is it called? Yeah, what is it called?
Just
for the shoes?
Just some sort of like snow cleats, or I would imagine something, I don't know. Lisa, if I
think I have something.
I can send it to you.
I think I have one bookmarked.
Sure.
Let me grab it and I'll share it.
Okay.
Charlie.
I think back when I used to run, you go to like runner stores and they would have those kinds of things you could put on your shoes. So when you ran outside, I mean, I never did because I would run at the indoor track at the university. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
See, on Amazon, it's called traction. Well, I think it's called snow cleats.
Oh, very good. Boy.
I see some of them on Amazon. So there's a lot of them.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bell cleats? It looks like it. Let's see.
Okay.
So Dan, how big was that track, indoor track you used to run on?
What's that?
How long was that indoor track you used to run? Was it a 200 meter or a 400 meter track?
It was like, I'd say 200, because yeah, it's like I thought I had to like run around it 10 times to be a mile or something. I don't know. I just
About right. That sounds about right.
like it was like yeah, it was like getting. What's that?
Yeah, you can get a little dizzy on those short tracks, and you know, the other problem with them is that you can injure yourself quite easily on them on your inside leg.
Hmm.
You do a lot of
Yeah,
training on indoor tracks. So
but I don't think I was running fast enough to get too hurt. So I'm
okay. Okay. All right.
but
Usually on those tracks, don't they switch
Another
it so
one,
like,
Dan. Good job. Another joke. Another one, Dan.
But
Ding.
no, it's like, you know, because I used to, when I'd run outside all the time, but then once the weather hit and it got, you know, icy outside, I had no business running outside. So then I just get a 6-month membership to the indoor track, or, you know, it's like the indoor athletic complex here that had the indoor track, and I'd run on that to just stay, because I did do treadmills for a while, but it's just like, you know, especially, you know, with MS, every time my foot would drag, I'd trip, and that's, you've seen the video of people when they fall on a treadmill. And it says, I don't want to be that guy, and if I am, please tell me somebody recorded it so I could.
Yeah. No, I hear that, and you know, you were talking before about winter in Arizona. Last New Year's Day, a buddy of mine came down from the Bay Area. He was looking to buy. He'd been looking for a long time to buy an RV, and he found one just north of Tucson. So he flew down on New Year's Day, and I took him with me to a party. He's a close friend, and he stayed here overnight. And when we woke up in the morning, there was a complete blanket of snow here. I mean, it was just unbelievably beautiful. And it's pretty unusual to get snow. I'm 40 miles south of the center of Tucson. So, but it does happen occasionally. So I just want to tell you that even Scottsdale, Cathy, even Scottsdale may not be warm enough. I moved down here because I don't do well in the cold. I have a couple of issues, and it makes it difficult for me when it gets too cold. So, but and it does get cold here in the winter. So
Yeah.
40 miles south.
Go
40
ahead.
miles. 40 miles south of Tucson is where? Is that close to Sierra Vista?
Sierra Vista would be 40 miles southeast of Tucson. I'm in a very little village called Tubac.
Okay.
And I'm just south of Green Valley and north of Nogales. I'm about 20 miles north of the border. The border is at Nogales
Okay.
on I-19. You know it, Frank?
Almost retired to Sierra Vista.
Did you? Yeah,
Almost.
my landlord's squeeze. She lives in Sierra Vista. Her husband was in the military. She was a military wife for many years, and she finished up in Sierra Vista because as you well know, there's a very big base there.
Probably one of the largest.
Is that so? I didn't realize. Well, in Tucson we have DavisMonthan, which is a very large Air Force base.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, Fort Huachuca is the Army's communications base, where all the Army communications is based out of.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm learning something here. So sorry, I don't want to distract you too much from the MS conversations. I tell you what I find fascinating though. We run a lot of these groups, and we find that in the prostate cancer groups, which are mostly men, they only want to talk about treatment. And so here I am sitting in a group with a fair distribution of men and women, actually more women than men, and you guys are still happy to talk about details and treatment and technical issues and all of that. So I find that very, very interesting. So good for you. All I say is good for you. So
I don't want to speak for anyone else, Rick, but I think those of us with MS, we have started to realize that treatment is a small piece of the disease, that lifestyle, and that there's so much. Would you say you're nodding your head, Frank? You think that's kind of true too?
Oh, you're right on. Okay, you're right on. You're right on point. You can sit here and talk about treatments and symptoms and all the problems in the world. Live life, enjoy what you've got, and then deal with the little things that are out there on the side.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's too. And you make a good point, Rick. It's just like truly, it's almost like this group is almost like indicative of the MS as a disease in terms of percentage of men to women, because there's the 4 women, 2 men, and so we're. But I do think it's like it's almost like there's the element of having the disease, but then I think the treatment is like the next thing that we all have, and that's like separate from the diet, the health, the exercise, and everything. I mean, it's almost like it's the treatment options is one thing that we all share. That makes us different from. I mean, among the many things that make us different from the non-MS population, but that's one thing that we can at least expand on. Then it's almost like then you get deeper into like the realities of the disease, and because I mean this is surface level. We're going down. God knows where we're going next on this to like get into the details of because then you can talk like diet or what do you eat, because we're talking like we eat horribly. I mean, we're just like, I love going to the bars. I love eating bar food. And so you're just like, certainly, bar and beers, that's not going to make me any healthier, but it's just like, so we've talked like, what more can we do? So, I mean, how much, like, we don't have enough to worry about. I mean, how do you all deal with like the food? Because you see all this stuff online with the MS diets, and does this work, and the Walls protocol and this and whatnot. How much do you pay attention to the diet part of managing MS versus just good diet to be healthy, period?
Well, I can only speak for myself, and I interviewed Terry Walls many years ago, and it's very interesting, and there are a lot of people that love her diet. Also, in the beginning, when I was diagnosed 33 years ago, there were a lot of diets that were scams, and there's always going to be that. But I have to do what's good for me and what works for me, and what works for me is eating healthier. And also, with comorbidities, I got some gut issues, which prevents me from having any gluten. And I try to avoid sugar and dairy as well, because I see that that's a trigger. So I'm really eating very healthily, and I do feel a difference for the gut and the MS in that way. And I just feel better eating healthy and eating more fruits and vegetables and things. But when you know that if you're going to eat that, pizza, and you're going to really be in pain afterwards, that pizza doesn't look so good to you anymore. But that's just, again, that's just for me, and we all have to find our comfort. And one other thing, I don't want to monopolize it here, but one other thing that you alluded to before about that we don't just talk about medications, because there's so much more to us and who we are and what we do in our life lifestyles, and it's diet, exercise, and it's complementary medicine too. It's the holistic side as well, that meditation and Tai Chi or whatever the heck it is, and so there's a lot of things that we could just talk endlessly. And now I will step off my platform here.
Well,
Oh, you stay,
I
Cathy.
think
You're
Really
going.
helpful. Yeah, I appreciate that. Excellent.
I think what we've got to realize, and what we realize, is that everybody on this call has a different disease. I mean, we may call it MS, but it affects us all in a different way. We all have our individual case of MS. And what's going to be a trigger for one person is not going to be a trigger for the next person. And I think when you understand that and you accept that, you don't go looking for a magic bullet. I just think, you've got an individual condition that's got to be dealt with, and you find the best way. I don't know any other way to look at it.
That's a great point, Frank. I think
Yeah.
it's almost like when adults go around asking little kids what they want to be when they grow up, it's almost like the adults are looking for ideas, so like, because they're looking for something different. But it's just like, I think just even talking about it, I mean, here, it educates us on like where things are with medicine. But like Cathy, we were talking about how much better you feel eating fruits and vegetables. I mean, it's like we should try that. Maybe it'll make us feel better rather than just grabbing another cup of coffee and go and get some onion rings. It's just like, that's how I live.
But Dan, the strange thing about that statement is, if you look around you at 95% of the people around you, they would have to say exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like we're out there in Never Land talking about things that shouldn't be done. We should all be doing it anyway.
Yes.
That's a good point.
And I think that's why it has to be difficult to be newly diagnosed. I mean, just judging from how we've all talked about when we were diagnosed, I can't imagine being newly diagnosed right now. There are so many choices and so many things to think about. And so sometimes, I'm thankful that we have a call tonight where we're all talking, and it's been a few years, because that would be really, when I was diagnosed, there were 3 treatment options. Now you have so many choices, which is a good thing, but at the same time, it's somewhat overwhelming. And there are so many things to think about with treating the disease.
Yeah, I agree with you all. And I don't eat that well either, so yeah. I loved your comment about bar food. I love that idea. I love that idea. I just can't make it out as much, but boy, oh boy, if I could have someone just put the bar inside my apartment, oh boy, I'd be a happy person. However, Cathy, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to I just made a green drink for lunch, and I was starving after it. So I don't know, but I would like it's important, I think, to look at other ways in addition to medication as a way to live your best life, as people were talking about.
Food is medicine. Food is medicine.
Yeah.
Touche.
And I did work with the new.
Recently been like.
I actually just saw something. I saw something about they were I guess the international conference about treating people with MS, and there was some researcher, I think, I don't know, out of Sweden or something like that, but he was saying exercise is just as important as a disease modifying therapy. And I think about that every day. Every day I look at my shoes. Every day I'm like, let me sit down and have some coffee first and think about it some more. But okay, at lunch or afternoon, I will get to the gym and go on the bike for 30 minutes, and I haven't made it, but I think about it. And that's something that I would like to incorporate more, because that you hear about that. Like if you don't use it, you do lose it. And that's definitely the case for us. So that's important.
I've started experimenting again with diet, but I'm kind of in Cathy's camp. I've been dairy free for about 4 years, and that's definitely something I've noticed that helps me feel better. And I have a big sweet tooth, and when I don't eat sugar, I feel a lot better. But I also have a big sweet tooth, so I'm not gonna.
I'm with you. I'm with you, boy.
I think that there's that quality of life. And, as Cathy was saying, that you look at that pizza and you know what problems it could cause. Or like, I'm with you, Lisa, where it's like, I know I should do a little more exercise, but I'm so comfortable and I'm so happy. So there's just a lot of, there are so many pieces to this multiple sclerosis puzzle. So much.
But this is who I was prior to, just like Frank was saying. This was me before the MS. It's I've always, that's me. What can I say? I never really enjoyed the idea of having to get up and exercise. It was something that I felt like I had to do. But anyway, the bar idea, nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to open this up.
No, it's just a nice burger or some nachos. Oh man, those were the good days. Oh, man. Oh boy, I enjoyed myself in my 20s, late 20s. My first job, boy, I'll never forget it. But anyway.
I think it's a really
the bar in Ann Arbor was. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, moving, here we are. And anyway, but it's something that, boy, I have to say, I did used to go to physical therapist, and I really need to make an appointment for that. I've been, I don't know. So, but I do try to do some of the exercises, the squats, and I don't know. There's a few like calf raises and things of that nature. So I do put that in. I do something like that daily, but I do need to step up the cardiovascular in some way. So
there's a saying that I work with like a women's collective locally, and we say a lot to not should all over ourselves. And I feel like I would just like to share that with you guys tonight. And maybe just like find something that you do enjoy, because even walking is helpful, but like, a lot of times we don't feel like doing it, and don't should yourself into feeling terrible.
Yeah, do that more. That's
a chore.
Well, I think it's like, just to get to that point, it's just like pushing yourself for like, was it like for 2 weeks of just making it a habit and doing, as I told Jennifer, it's like when I ran, it's just like I'd get home from work, you didn't even question. It's just like, I'm going home, I'm going to go run. I have to run. And so it's just making that part of the habit. And it's so easy to not do. You go out once and walk one night, or there's always a tendency to overdo it to, the first time out. And you're just like, because it's sometimes it's hard to remember when you're feeling good that you do have a progressive disease, and that I'm not going to feel good tomorrow, because we always do that. It's like, I feel great today, let's go do this, let's go do that. But then like you said earlier, Frank, when you're sick, it's a hard time recovering. It's just like, even just overdoing it, like with housework or something, you're going to pay for it for a couple days. I think that's where it's You know, and then I don't want to like walk down this road, but it's just a reality. We're getting older and stuff, so our bodies aren't going to be as quick to recover. I mean, that's just, you know, these are realities. Now I sound like my parents or something where they give me wise advice where they're just like, you're going to get older, you're going to do this. So, but no, it's just like those weird things that it's like compounded because of this disease that's brought us together tonight, right?
You know, a funny thing, a physical therapist, and of course we've all done physical therapists, and I got so tired of physical therapists trying to make myself stronger, okay? Because my upper body's fine. I got one leg that doesn't work, okay? And everybody's trying to make the leg stronger. And finally, a doctor said, we're going to teach you to walk again. But before we can teach you to walk again, we've got to strengthen that leg. Well, how do we strengthen the leg? And he put an electronic stimulator on it and made me do it twice a day for 15 minutes. And after about 3 months, I could actually move my leg up off the floor again. And to me, I mean, 2 years ago, I was pretty well in a wheelchair all the time. And today, I mean, I'm still in a wheelchair to get around, but I can get around with the walker if I choose. But I've got the leg that I can use again now. I'm not dragging it all the time. I haven't worn a pair of shoes out in the last 2 years because I'm dragging my right heel all the way. So, I mean, it was just, and it wasn't, it didn't try to strengthen my leg with muscle strength, but make it functional again. And it was a different approach.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
Glad you found that doctor.
Exactly.
Believe me, I am glad I saw that doctor.
Where was that doctor in Kansas?
No, it was a doctor in Pittsburgh.
Oh, so it was out west. Oh, wow.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And they did real good work with me and put me on that stimulator. And all it does is it flexes the quadricep muscles electronically so that it strengthens the thigh muscle so that I can use the leg again. And it's amazing how it worked. I couldn't believe it.
Do you have to do like continued maintenance with that, with the stimulator, or because you're moving it now, you just have to keep it up?
No, I still do it twice a day for 15 minutes at a time, 2 times for 15 minutes. And it just flexes a muscle, and it's just like walking.
Great. That's terrific.
Yeah. So we're kind of.
So what is this? Because okay, so let me ask this then. I mean, for everybody who's on the call, I mean, when you got the invite to say, or, you know, said that, you know, we're meeting tonight, I mean, what were you hoping to get out of this? I mean, other than a chance to get to see me, Frank, that's but you know,
It wasn't you, Dan, it was Chet.
Oh, well, thank you, Frank.
Yeah. You know, because
I'm kidding. I am kidding.
No, because I mean, it's one of the things where it's like when Rick reached out to us and Carly and Jennifer and I and with Mary Pettigrew, I mean, we really wanted to give people a place to come together and just to talk about. I mean, it's like what's on your mind or what's there. So then it's just a question. So it's not, you know, we're just here to like facilitate, but it's like what were you guys hoping to get out of this, or not necessarily tonight, but just out of a online virtual, you know, group meet?
I think it's shared ideas.
Okay.
What about you, Lisa?
Oh, I was waiting for someone else. I don't know. I just still as much just, I guess, resources and support. I mean, I don't know. I still feel, you know, very new to this. You know, I still feel like I'm adjusting to, you know, my new life. And so anything, like I mean, all of the above, you know, I'll say E, you know, on the multiple choice list, E, all of the above. So,
Because when were you diagnosed, Lisa?
it was 9 years ago. It was 9 years ago.
Okay.
But it still feels, you know, it's still surprising, right? And then when you know, having to move across country, I mean, that affected my body in a different manner. You know, the winters was something new for me. I had perfect weather, you know, it was like 60s, 70s, couldn't beat it, you know, 70s primarily, and, you know, 60s for winter. So, and not even, and then rarely even 80, you know. I mean, it was, so I didn't realize that about how the weather could just cause me to be, you know, inbound for months, essentially. So it's still new in a way, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. What about you?
Sometimes.
What made you join us tonight with even with your sickness, where you were?
I really had no idea what to expect. I was just kind of curious what it was all about, and I always like seeing old friends and meeting new ones. That's always a great thing. And that's really about it. Could I just ask how much longer? And I could go on forever with you guys, but I'm kind of losing it a little here.
Yes, I understand.
Because
Okay.
we look to, like, you know, about the hour mark is when people start to, you know, because I mean, really now it's like it's been a long day for a lot of us. I think it's like, but you know, just to see, you know, if the conversation's still going. But yeah, I think that you're getting sick, Carly's getting sick, and Frank, we can, you know, and Lisa, we could all
Visibly
stay
going
on.
down.
But yeah, so no, we're just, you know, because we'll send it out, you know, for like invite for, because we'll do this like once a month. I mean, and
Right.
so, you know, it's like, we just want to make it a place where, you know, people want to come, because that was great to hear, Frank, just like as far as the, you know, as connecting and just the resources. Because I think sometimes it's even if there's nothing new necessarily, I always feel good if I hear other people are having the same problems as me. You know, it's just like, then I don't feel, like, truly don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
And
That's a rarity for me, I would say.
There's a couple of people I've run across, and they don't know any other people that are living with MS. And so they've said, oh, this is great. Then I have the opportunity to talk to other people and compare notes. And what, you know, people like Frank and Lisa and Cathy and the Digmans, I mean, everybody on here is very active within MS community. But there are a lot of people that are not that active within the MS community, and they don't connect to others. And I am hoping that some of those people we will start to pull in. And you know, as you go through the next month, we'll meet again on let's see what date, the 21st of November. And as you go through the next month, if you run across MS people, say to them, hey, we got an online meeting. You just pick up the telephone or join us online and come and listen to what we have to say. I mean, there's been some great sharing of resources. I mean, just you touched on exercise, you touched on diet. We spend a lot of time in some of the other groups talking about exercise and diet an awful lot, and there's so much to say about it. And you all said, it's all up to you how much you want to employ and you don't want to employ, because you know it's going to make you feel better, but you love the food. So you know you're always making that balance.
Sure.
As far as how long the meetings go, I've left that totally up to the moderators. And we definitely recognize that MS is a disease that a condition that delivers fatigue. And so it is late. So moderators can call it a day whenever they want to call it a day, but I do hope that you'll all come back next month. I'm particularly Frank, because there's a local guy here, Frank, and I may well just connect you to him if I may. And I think you could be a great support to him. I'd love to introduce you to him.
Sure, fine. I have no problem with that. Like I said, I'll talk about MS to anybody anytime.
Okay, but I will make that connection, and we'll get. The one thing I was hoping that, but you didn't get into, is several of you are on these government committees, and I was more interested. I was hoping you might compare notes on how the different government committees work. But that's not for now. That's for next time.
Well, I tell you what, I've been on 3 of them, and I will be more than glad to talk about that because it's very interesting. Okay, it is a very interesting subject.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm curious. I remember, participating in some of the initial meetings about, setting up the group, and we were really thinking about the timing of when we would have these meetings, because we were being open to the idea that there might be people on the West Coast, right, to participate. So, we said 8:30 because that's 5:30 Pacific, right? But it seems the majority of the folks who participate are, East Coast on Eastern time, with the exception of Rick. And, so I'm wondering, the last time I was on the call, Rick, you were in England. So I was surprised to hear that you were in Arizona at this time. But, I'm curious if that's something we can, rethink, because I do think, like, I would be a little bit more, I have no idea, but it's possible that I would be a little bit more energetic from 7:30 even to 9, 8:30 to.
The only thing I want to say is this is only the second meeting, and we just don't know.
Or is it the third? Because I missed the last one, I have to say. I missed last month. I know I participated. Oh, the first one was the trial.
We had like a soft open kind of one.
Trial. The trial. So that was,
what we did with in another group is that when we built it up to a level where there were just 20 people for a meeting, we created a second meeting, and we started that meeting earlier. So we basically had 2 meetings. We had a meeting that started at 5 o'clock. We had a meeting that started at 8 o'clock Eastern, and we had a meeting that started at 6 o'clock Eastern. And I just think that
this was 8:30. That's even 30 minutes. It was 8:30 Eastern. If you're considering this one, or are you talking about another group?
no,
Right.
other groups.
Okay.
Our other groups, but 8:30 was the time that that the Digmans and Carly decided. I don't know. But we're open. I mean, we're very open if you want to discuss it. But
Well,
I do.
I'm going to sign off for now because I really need to go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank
I'll see you guys
Feel
next
better.
time. This was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Nice
Feel
meeting you.
better.
Okay. Good health, everybody.
You too. Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Cathy.
That's a nice closing. I like that. Good health. That's nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Mm-hmm. I love this. I do. This is my second time participating in the actual group. Doing, with the moderators going through the process, and I really appreciate it.
I love this online. I love it.
If you were still in Berkeley, then what time is the earliest you could make a meeting if you were living in Berkeley?
Yeah, like I said before, I mean, I had to keep part in that, saying 8:30, I said that 5:30 would be, you need at least 30 minutes, to get home or get somewhere else. So I did say 5:30 Pacific, I was one of the key people that there's a reason that we're here at 8:30 Eastern. So I've said that flat out. I know, because I know I didn't want to be the first one out of the door at 5 o'clock. There was no
No,
way.
and the thing is that if we said it earlier, if we do set it earlier, then we make it even more difficult if there are people in the western states who are working for them to join. So I don't have an answer to this.
Yeah,
I'm
I hear
sorry.
you. So I think, yeah, going forward, I think, when this expands, it's possible that you might have groups for people in the East Coast, people, West Coast groups or something like that. So it's possible, but we're just getting started. So
We're just getting started.
Right.
And I'm thrilled.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Anyway, I just and Carly and the Digmans, you have a topic to raise next time about government action.
Yes.
Committees. But Frank, you better be with us in November.
Dan, I'll get together with you and I'll tell you what I think we ought to talk about.
Please do.
Yes, please.
Please do. You got my Twitter. You got, yeah. So
Oh my
I got you.
Hey, wait, can we think about this? Can you imagine what we might be thinking about in a month? I mean, the way things are going with the news. Imagine where we would be in a month. Anyway.
I know I want to be, but I'm not holding my breath.
Stress is not good for
I don't want
us,
to hear it.
Okay.
You're like my dad.
All right, I think on that note, before we get ourselves
I
into
can't
more
hear you.
trouble, we should close out. What do you think?
Oh, you're like my the many times is right. I hate that. You're like, you're not the age at all. Don't take it the wrong way. But man, I don't want to
So you
think like
guys,
that.
who's going to win the World Series? We'll change this.
Oh, very good.
No.
Very good. I don't care.
Yeah, but
Who are you for? Who do you want to win? Who are you for? Who are you rooting for? Dan?
The Nationals.
Yeah, it would be cute. It would be very nice. What about in the Midwest? What do you? What?
You just say it'd be cute.
What's the voice from the center of the country, Frank?
A good World Series. I'm not picking a winner this time.
Okay.
Because Kansas City's not in. Is that how that works?
Kansas City's not in it.
I have family that live in Houston, so I still like Justin Verlander. I hate that we couldn't hold on to him, but I that's all I'm saying.
And for me, Lisa, it's because of Max Scherzer when he was with the Tigers. So I'm like, well, then I want to root for the Nationals because I'm a big Scherzer fan. But if Houston wins, go Justin Verlander. I mean,
I was gonna say Jason. That's my brother's name. I was like, oh yeah, Jason Ripley. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but Detroit is represented either way. So.
Oh, you should have seen it. So my brother's a teacher, and when they won, I guess it was when Houston won, I think a couple of years ago, the city of Houston, they gave the public school kids the Friday off to celebrate. So my brother got a message sent to him in class, and then he set it up, and he's like, well, have something to tell you because of your way you've been acting. You have to take the Houston Astros want to have the day off, and they were dancing off the tables and the desk. They were going crazy. Oh my gosh, it was the cutest thing. I mean, they put the music on, they started doing routines, and it was the cutest thing. So I don't know. So hopefully, maybe DC, maybe they will have a day off for their celebration. We will see.
Got to change the subject just a little bit. My son won his 4th Emmy Award a week or so ago.
What?
He won his 4th Regional Emmy Award for a documentary that he produced, directed, shot, edited, the whole 9 yards for Kansas City Public Television. And the title of it was Me, Dorothy, and the Road to Oz.
Oh my
He was just notified today that he is up for a National Education Television Documentary Award in January
Oh, fantastic.
for the same show. And I mean, you can't believe it. You know, who would think,
I love it. I
who would
love
think
it.
that you would have a son that's got 4 Emmys hanging on the wall? You know,
Hey,
I mean,
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's huge.
Huh?
Yeah, it's just like you get one, but I mean to do it 4 times.
He's
Wow.
got 4 of them in the last 3 years.
What in the world? Oh, goodness. Yeah, I love, I'm a huge fan of, I received my degree in communications and, I was interested in film, and all of that. And, yeah, so I, worked in PBS for a bit. And I pay attention to all those things. That's wonderful.
The amazing thing about it, I don't know
There
where
could be